Let's do a American Redact. Big up American Redact. American Redact's got a new video. American Redact has a new video. It says Bill Burr just buried Ben Shapiro. I'm assuming this is covering that recent drama that happened with Bill Burr and Ben Shapiro, where Ben Shapiro's been labeling Bill Burr as being woke. It also comes off the back of a lot of Republicans, right-wing people now saying that Bill Burr is woke because he doesn't agree with their point of view. A lot of those right-wing people too, I see them on fucking social media. They're always posting very unflattering pictures of Bill Burr's wife, calling her a monkey and shit because she's a black woman and stuff. It's pretty horrible, I'm not gonna lie. All because he doesn't really agree with their point of view, or he calls out Trump and shit. People are now upset and kind of are calling him essentially like some sort of woke liberal cuck thing. It's a strange place to be because in the past, Bill Burr was an ally to the right people. He didn't align to them, but when you're saying things that are favorable to their camp, they liked him. Now he doesn't. They don't like him anymore. So let's check it out. Bill Burr just buried by Ben Shapiro. Big up American Redact. Let's fucking go.
I'm such a Bill Burr fan that I actually bought a ticket for me and my wife and two of our friends to go see Bill Burr at the Hard Rock Casino down here in Hollywood, Florida. And I have to say, it was one of the worst shows I ever saw in my life because he got up.
I always wondered, right? Weird observation. I always wondered, does Ben Shapiro purposely tilt his head down so you can always see his little hat? I don't know what it's called, the Jewish hat that they wear. I feel like whenever he talks, he's always like slightly tilting his head like that so you can see his hat. He doesn't just sit back normally, yeah? Or am I bugging out? Every time I've seen him, I'm like, does he do that on purpose so you can see it?
There, and Bill Burr has become woked. He has become woked, I assume, because his
woked is that even a term? Woked.
Wife is very much on the left. Over time, I think he became embarrassed.
You know what's funny too? Bill Burr has the best relationship with his wife. When what's her name called again? Is it Angie? I forgot her fucking name. Whenever she comes on the microphone, whenever she comes on the pod, the jokes are incredible. Because she gets Bill Burr, like, she gets him in a way no one else gets him. She rips into him. Like, she's the only person I've seen legitimately rip into Bill Burr, and he had no answer. Like, their relationship is fucking brilliant. You can tell they actually love each other. He speaks about her glowingly. He doesn't talk about her like she's a fucking ball and chain. He's not always super excited to fucking leave and go on tour. He's always missing his kids. Like, he actually acts he actually sounds and acts like a present and proud dad and husband. Like, honestly, it's really refreshing listening to him and his wife communicate on their pods because it's completely opposite what you hear from these other comedians and how they refer to their partners or their wives and girlfriends, where they talk about them like they're a fucking burden. Like, Bill Burr loves his wife. Like, there are times where he will hurry up recording his podcast so he can go hang out with the kids and stuff. It's really refreshing. So it's a shame that she gets all that stick, to be honest, because she's really funny.
Many people on the right thought he was very funny. And so he...
Big up Ranger. It's the opposite. Yamaka. It's called a Yamaka. That's it. Big up Keepy. Bill Burr never saw him as right-leaning. Clearly AZ never listened to Jay Tronica's rhyme scheme. That hat is 100 references. Why wouldn't he wear one without the stealth bomber cloaking technology color that directly matches his hair to Mimos and people in the middle of America? Big up J Ranger. Big up I'm Cincinnati man. I've listened to Bill Burr for years. He ain't never been a right-wing guy. You know what's funny? I'm Cincinnati man. I think the right just assumed Bill Burr was a right-leaning guy because he's quite critical of women. Like, you know, when he puts on his annoying woman voice, when he calls out hypocrisy from women, lack of accountability. I think they took his stance on relationship dynamics and stuff and how harsh he can be, talking about bird women, bimbos and, you know, fucking gold diggers and stuff. They incorrectly assumed that because he has that point of view, that he's like a manosphere guy. He's a red pill guy, which is weird because the things he talks about are stuff like most men complain about when it comes to women. But they just incorrectly thought, oh yeah, he must hate women too. It's like, no. He doesn't hate women. He just calls out the hypocrisy in like feminism, the hypocrisy and everything, you know, concerning women online and shit, and how fucking dumb it is. But it doesn't mean he hates women because the stuff is dumb. When you call that dumb shit, you call that dumb shit. Like the other day, I posted this clip of this guy in the techno scene, who's been causing a ruckus, right? This guy in techno scene who unfortunately moved now to London. I've covered him on my Taz show. His name's Nicholas Rose. And somebody DM'd me and was like, oh my God, I thought you were being homophobic. Because I posted a picture of this guy dancing on the street in his little, his outfit, he's got his little mini skirt on, his little fucking top. And I wasn't dissing, I didn't post it because of his outfit. I posted because of the dumb dance he's doing in the street and just him being a fucking idiot and a loser. And the background behind it is that same guy is the one that, has incorrectly or has put false allegations against clubs of racism or of homophobia. He allegedly sexually assaulted some guy when they were drunk and high in an after somewhere. He's a horrible person. So I'm taking the piss out of him because he's a horrible person. But it doesn't mean because he happens to be gay, I'm being homophobic. You know what I mean? People do that a lot nowadays. You call out something, you laugh at something, people immediately think you're laughing at them because of how they identify. No. If it's about equality, then equality means we all get the fucking disses. We all get the fucking bullets. If that's equality, everyone gets fucking called out for their shit. Me included, everybody. It's not because, you're hype behind your fucking flag. No. Put the flag down. If anything, you're disrespecting people under the flag. Put the fucking flag down. Let's look at you and let's go from there. Rant over.
He decided that he was going to start woking it up.
Like that idiot Ben Shapiro. No, he's woke now. He's like, I don't, at one point, the guy liked me.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to look at that guy like he's an adult?
All right, so as you may know by now, Bill Burr recently made headlines after he called out the group of dude bro...
Oh yeah, BRK of Moses. Yeah, I've heard a bit of that. What's her fucking name? Just Pearly Things got into a spat with some girl because I guess Pearly Things has a thing against girls posting their engagement ring, which is a real projection. It shows real insecurity that she's upset that she hasn't been chosen in that way yet. But it seems to be a thing that she does. Every time somebody posts an engagement ring, she'll quote tweet it, especially if they're like a tried wife person, and take the piss out of the ring, insinuate it's too small, call out why you're getting married, and of course, in this particular exchange, the person that she dissed, wasn't having it. There was a back and forth. And in that back and forth, some very insulting things were said. And yeah. And to be fair, I only found out recently that Just Pearly Things has a thing for black guys, which makes sense though, because she's really big in it. So not a lot of white guys will be into her because she's a big girl. I think she's like 6 foot. Like she looks it anyway. I think she used to play netball as well as swim. So she's a very broad, big white lady. And the only people that are willing to knock that down and chop that down will be my fellow blacks, especially Caribbeans. Caribbeans would love to chop her down for sure. She goes to Kingston, Jamaica. Just Pearly Things touches down to Kingston, Jamaica. She puts on a little fucking Jamaica fucking bikini top on and bottoms. She's getting all the fellas. She's getting chased around that whole fucking island if she goes to Jamaica. If she goes to fucking Sweden, if she goes to fucking Miami, if she comes to London, probably not so much. But if she goes to Jamaica, Just Pearly Things is a 10 over there.
Podcasters who platform corrupt politicians and world leaders without ever giving pushback. But another huge call out in that interview that you might have missed was when Bill Burr addressed his ongoing beef with Ben Shapiro. And so I touched on this briefly in my initial video about that podcast, but I actually think it deserves more attention because after learning about the history of this beef, I quickly realized that this was probably...
No, chill. Pearl got a flat back tabletop bottom.
Don't get me wrong. Would I still chop? Don't get me wrong. Would I still chop? Yes. In the dead of night. I'll still chop. Lights off and shit. Yeah? Lights off. I will still chop. I remember back in the day. Chopping the thing down and constantly turning off the light. And the girl keeps saying, why you keep turning off the light for? And the dead side, turn off again. I would definitely chop with the lights turned off, for sure. Definitely chop with the lights turned off. 100%. Seen outside in public? Nah. No, thank you.
The biggest moment of Little Ben Shapiro's career. Because, believe it or not, at one point in time, Little Ben was actually Bill Burr's #1 fan. Like, he promoted Bill's special on his Twitter account in 2019, calling it shocking and audacious, and he even made an entire YouTube video defending the comedian in 2021, titled Leftists Outraged Over Bill Burr Jokes at the 2021 Grammys.
Bill Burr said a thing, and the thing was unwoke, because our cultural Puritans can never allow Bill Burr to make a joke about his own inability to pronounce Latino names. You can Latinx names.
So up until 7 months ago, Ben Shapiro thought that Bill Burr was on his team. You know, he thought Bill was one of these anti-woke mafia heroes such as himself. But then in February of this year, Bill Burr vocalized his support for Luigi Mangione and criticized the evil practices of billionaire CEOs.
Free Luigi!
Love it.
Which seemed to hurt little Ben's feelings. So much so.
So why does he not? I get not agreeing with a kid murdering somebody in broad daylight, but why is that like a woke thing? You know, I get not agreeing with murdering a guy in fucking cold blood in day, right? Like broad day like that. I get it. Plus, he wasn't personally responsible for Luigi Mangione not getting his insurance. That guy was just a CEO. Maybe you could say he constructed some of the practices, but he was not the sole person in charge of that decision. So maybe he should have gone after somebody that really did do it. Fair enough. But what that guy represented is what people are trying to get at, you know? And the real life consequences of people's actions finally coming to a head. It's upsetting and sad for the family, for sure. But how is that a woke thing? You know, it's a strange, like, how is that a woke thing? So people see Luigi Mangione as being woke.
That he made an hour-long podcast about Bill Burr, claiming that his stand-ups become weak, that he's become disconnected from his...
Big up young old vibes. Yes, I am. AZ, are you admitting black men like women, even if they're built like a linebacker? Yeah, for sure. That's why Just Pearly Things has a long track record of many ex-boyfriends and ex-conquests that happen to be very dark, very black, for sure. I would love to know if Just Pearly Things has a single ex-boyfriend or ex-chop that's white. I don't think so. I can't imagine many white guys being into her. Unless they're other athletes. And even other athletes as well, they tend to go for smaller girls for some reason. I'm not sure why, but other athletes tend to go for like smaller frame-built girls. So she probably doesn't have any experience with... I'm trying to think of a country. What country could she go to? Maybe Eastern Europe. Because a lot of girls in Eastern Europe are quite big and well-built. So maybe she went to Eastern Europe, she could find another white guy that would be into her. But I think that particular look that she has... But the only problem she's going to have, though... No, actually, exactly. She's got that, and plus she's got that... Doesn't she have that whole thing about being submissive? About agreeing with men and stuff, being more like being a bit of a pick-me. So if she's a bit of a pick-me, she's perfect for black guys. Especially a particular kind of black guy that wants their woman to be kind of, you know, submissive. Wants their woman to fucking, you know... Essentially just be like a version of their... Yeah, let's not say that. But you get what I mean. So it's Eastern European women, men probably not. I don't know. They want something a bit more, you know, fiery. But I don't know. I guess you'll figure it out. I'm curious. When she does eventually marry, I'll be very curious to see who she ends up with. Because eventually she will get married and have kids. I'll be curious to see who Just Pearly Thing eventually ends up with.
Audience, and that he's turned into a woke a-hole ever since he married his current wife.
So this brings us to Bill Burr. So I have to say, Bill Burr is so Bill Burr, I used to really enjoy his work. I mean, on occasion, I still enjoy his work. He's a comedian, which means he's very hit or miss. His Red Rock special, for example, hilarious. I'm such a Bill Burr fan that I actually bought a ticket for me and my wife and two of our friends to go see Bill Burr at the Hard Rock Casino down here in Hollywood, Florida. And I have to say, it was one of the...
I don't think she'll get married. She talks too much. No, I think she'll get married. I think some guy will eventually marry her, for sure. I think so. I think she definitely will get married. I'm just curious to see what the guy will look like. What type of stuff he'll do. Like, where will this guy come from, you know? What race will he be? But I think she definitely will get married. I think there's way worse girls out there who have been married than her. Who have way worse opinions, who are less attractive. I think she's fine. I think she'll definitely find somebody. I'm just curious to see what compromise, because I think she'll have to make a big compromise. I'm curious to see what compromise will it be. Will it be looks? Will it be height? Will it be financial status? Will it be, you know, worldview, political leanings? I'm just curious to see what compromise she'll have to make to get that ring on her finger, to get that fucking wedding outfit, to get that wedding picture, to get that baby. Because she'll have to make some, she doesn't want to make compromises, right? But I wonder what compromise she'll have to eventually make.
The worst shows I ever saw in my life, because he got up there and Bill Burr has become woked. He has become woked, I assume, because his wife is very much on the left. Over time, I think he became embarrassed that many people on the right thought he was very funny. And so he decided that he was going to start woking it up. So this...
Yeah, because I'm Cincinnati man. I like my ladies built like powerlifters, bro. I like my girls built like fucking Power Rangers, man. I want to arm wrestle. You get what I mean? I want to fucking. You mean? And fucking man. Put your hands up there. You know what I mean? Whatever. I want to take her back. You know what I mean? Take her back so you can feel that fucking hammer on your fucking spine.
Entire show that he did in Hollywood, Florida, it was so bad that he got frustrated with the audience. The audience was not laughing at his jokes because his jokes were basically about how Floridians were a bunch of anti-gay racists. And Floridians were like, that's not true.
Yeah, I want that King Kong. Be a gamer. I want that King Kong. That's what I want. I want that fucking. That's how wide my arms are. I want that fucking King Kong. There you go. That's what I want. That King Kong. Give me that King Kong girl. Come on. Let's fucking go. Someone's got to take her. Gladly.
There are a lot of gay people who live down here and a lot of Hispanics and black people who live down here. And in fact, the room is filled with Jews. Right? And so he actually got so frustrated, he ended up cutting his show early and walking off the stage. And the reason was he was totally disconnected from the audience. Well, that disconnect has continued. And now he is proclaiming that he is very happy that CEOs are walking around in fear for their lives. In any case, here is Bill Burr openly cheering the murder of a United Health executive because he says CEOs should live in fear if they don't act in the way that he would have them act in a system that he has no fixes for, by the way.
By the way, this is consequence culture. They shouldn't have to live in fear, but the consequences of your actions are the consequences of your actions. Why is he kind of completely ignoring that? No one is going to sit here and justify or co-sign or make excuses for what Luigi Mangione did. He took away someone's dad, he took away someone's brother, someone's son, someone's colleague. It's fucking horrendous. But the facts are the facts. That kid did that for a reason. You know? And he's been very clear about why he did that. And considering how the world has gone, the financial kind of climate that we're in right now, the fact that the rich keep getting richer, the fact that the people, even Luigi Mangione, that's the actual good case because if I'm not mistaken, his family are middle class, upper middle class even. So he comes from some money, but even he is suffering off the back of this fucking, medical insurance thing you guys have there in the States. Even he isn't able to keep up. Even he is struggling to manage his back, whatever it may be. So it goes to show how the issues that are happening in the world right now are affecting everybody unless you're in the top 5 or 1%. Everyone's kind of getting fucking stepped on. And people are going to have enough. And sometimes their actions, your actions will have consequences, as fucking Wings of Redemption would say. Or consequences of our actions. So that's what we're seeing. You can't just just completely eradicate or put aside the context of what happened. What happened was horrible, but the context is also important too. Consequences of actions.
I love that that CEOs are afraid right now. You should be. By and large, you're all a bunch of selfish, greedy pieces of shit, and a lot of you are mass murderers. You just don't pull the trigger. That's why it looks clean. That's why these people look, oh my God, he was just, walking into a hotel. It's like, okay, but what was his job? What did he do? What was the results of it?
Okay, Bill Burr is a piece of... Okay, well, what he is saying here is truly evil.
And what's so satisfying about this podcast was the golden irony of Shapiro stating that Bill Burr was disconnected from his audience. Because if you slowly scroll down, you'll quickly see that this video was ratioed into the ground with dislikes.
Wow, look at that. Look at the ratio. Big up the fans. Big up the fucking fans.
Down, you'll quickly see that this video was ratioed into the ground with dislikes.
Look at that. 25,000 dislikes to 10,000 likes. The audience has spoken. They don't agree with you, bro. Your audience has spoken. They do not agree with you. Wow. That's brilliant.
And pretty much everyone in the comment section let Ben know just how idiotic he's.
When the rich rob the poor, it's called business. When the poor fight back, it's called violence. Mark Twain. To be fair, what Luigi Mangione did is violence too, by the way. He did violence, yeah? Someone denying you healthcare, or somebody denying you the possibility to get your fucking back fixed a certain way, and you having to do other methods that fuck up your back and put you in excruciating pain for the rest of your life, doesn't mean you get the chance to kill them, killing is bad overall, but consequences of actions. Bill Burr's facts hurt Ben's feelings, it seems. Yeah, I love that one. Bill Burr's facts hurt Ben's feelings, it seems. Brilliant.
Sounded. And it seemed that they all came to the conclusion that Ben Shapiro would get
powerful bunch.
Yo, big up NJ Ranger. Appreciate it, bro.
United. Also, my healthcare provider has about twice the average claim denial rate of the national average. Hannah Arendt would talk about desk murderers like Eichmann who planned the Holocaust but didn't get in the trenches. Clutch your pearls, Benny boy.
Oh my God. Is that true? They have twice the denial rate of the national average. Fucking hell. Fucking hell. Okay. That explains it then, bro. That explains it. That explains it. They have twice the national average. So they go above and beyond to deny claims. They go above and beyond to find loopholes, to find reasons why they can deny and say no, not approved. Of course people are going to be pissed off and irate. That makes complete sense. No wonder so many people were like advocating for him, be like, you know what? It is what it is. RIP that man, but it is what it is. Because don't get me wrong, a lot of right-wing influencers like Ben Shapiro were saying what they're saying, but largely when I saw people online talking about it, especially Americans, they were more Kanye shrug. Oh well, you know what I mean? Because they all know what going with the knife healthcare. Some of them probably felt the same way as fucking Luigi Mangione, just never had the courage to do so, and he did it for everybody else. That makes complete sense. Oh wow, twice the national average denials. Fucking hell. That is insane. That's how you know you're running a fucking dodgy business, bro. Dodgy. And now I think, if I'm not mistaken, didn't they implement a new rule now? Or a standard across the board with all the fucking health insurance companies? Now they don't have, you know, on most of their website, they'd have like the leadership page. Now they don't have it. Or they've removed the photos from the leadership page. So you can't see what people look like. Because all the CEOs got scared. They thought they were next. So they took up all the who works here, our team. They removed all those headshots. No more headshots. Because no one wants to get headshotted. You get me? Big up Hassan Campbell. Snotbot rocks. No one wanted to get their snotbot rocks. Big up Hassan Campbell. Big up NJ Ranger.
On all fours and bark like a dog if a billionaire CEO told him to. I mean, absolutely no one agreed with what Ben was saying there. So this podcast was a overall pathetic attempt to rile up some kind of beef with Bill Burr, I guess. But the fact that Shapiro's own audience found this take to be brain dead says just about everything you need to know about the guy. And that was pretty much the end of the story. Until Bill Burr responded a few weeks later, saying, I don't know who he is, but that guy is a jerk-off. Which, of course, goes without saying, but it's still a perfect way to sum it all up. After that response, though, of course, there was radio silence from Burr. Since, according to Bill Burr, this whole feud that Shapiro was trying to drum up with him was completely driven by money. And then Shapiro just continued making negative videos about him and his wife, sandwiched in between ads for ExpressVPN, the Daily Wire, you name it. The whole thing was a grift. So Bill Burr wisely took the higher road, until a few weeks ago, when he was sort of put on the spot about the whole Ben Shapiro thing after the interviewer asked him directly about the situation. So to put the final nail in the coffin, Bill Burr aired out everything that he's bottled up over the last 7 months, exposing Shapiro for being a greasy slick talker, who's cultivated this toxic fanbase of chronically online extremists, who have also been harassing Bill and his wife for the last 7 months.
Summarize for people who have been watching your career so closely. In this last few months, you've had a few things happen, which is Ben Shapiro talked about going to one of your shows and complaining about you becoming woke, which sort of then created this.
He doesn't even know what that word means.
Let me summarize.
Big up, Angel Ranger. 30-something compared to 16. Now you use AI to approve denied claims. I bet you the problem with the AI thing isn't just AI. It probably is the parameters that they use AI with. The instructions they give these fucking large language models, you know? That's probably the problem. If you actually used AI to approve or deny health insurance claims, most likely you'd have a higher approval rate. But if you put some constraints within the AI about how to approve things, how to come to a certain conclusion, you actually might get less approval and and more denials. It probably end up tripling it. But then you end up, obviously, and again, look at those companies. They fuck everyone over, right? So now they probably implemented AI to approve these claims, which means there's less caseworkers. So now they're going to get rid of the caseworkers who look over and assess people's claims. They'll run it all through an AI fucking algorithm or a system. That AI system has constraints, guardrails, or fucking rules that it has to kind of assess to kind of approve or deny a claim. Most likely it will then end up denying more claims. So you shrink your workforce, put more people out of work, but then you also increase the amount of fucking denials you get. Honestly, I would be rioting in the street. I'd be rioting in the street every day. Fucking hell. The healthcare thing in America is weird, man. How people don't just get behind the idea of free healthcare in the States is fucking bizarre to me. Everything else I get. As a country, you guys are probably never going to be okay with welfare. You're never going to be okay with universal basic income because the tenets, the DNA, the genesis of America is about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. Like, here's this open land. It wasn't open and free because, you know, the Native Americans are there, but let's not get into that quickly. But here's this open land. We've discovered it. It's free. It's open. You can do whatever you want. You can make your dreams happen, the American dream. So the genesis, the tenets of America are based on that. So you guys are never going to be okay with welfare. Fair enough. You're never going to be okay with welfare. Never going to be okay with universal basic income. No problem. But surely healthcare, surely, not even education, surely healthcare should be the one pillar that everyone should get behind and say, yep, that should be free to all people. Everyone should be entitled to a level of care for free. Everyone. If you want to go private, because that's what I think. I don't think free healthcare would actually destroy the private healthcare industry in America. If anything, it would make it better because in the UK, that's what's happened. In the UK, we have free healthcare, but free healthcare takes you fucking ages to get fucking surgeries. It takes you ages to get appointments. You have to go for many different consultations via the NHS. So most people, especially most people who have more disposable income, they just go straight private. So if anything, it's actually increased the amount of people that go private now because free healthcare takes so long. But it's still an option for people who don't have anything. So you don't have citizens, you know, with like missing teeth and shit. Citizens with like ailments. Citizens with whatever else going on that can kind of get their healthcare. But for some reason, the right they just don't agree with it. And I just don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get why the free healthcare is the one thing they just will not budge on whatsoever. It's so bizarre to me. It really is. I get welfare not being a thing. You don't want to encourage people to have free money. You don't want to have a country full of layabouts and blah, blah, blah. I get it. But healthcare? Come on.
Definition of woke is white liberals' definition of woke, and they didn't even know what it was. They just took the word from black people. That's the worst thing about our people is not only do we take from other cultures, we don't even take the time to understand the definition.
Yeah.
He went there to be annoyed so he can then have something to talk about, and then he can make money off of dividing his own country.
Yeah.
Those people, it's treasonous what they do.
I agree with him, by the way. He's been saying this a lot. They do get a lot of joy out of the country not being united. They're not really into it. They're not really, like, they don't even want their party to be. That's a weird thing about these guys, right? These political grifters. I don't even get the feeling they want their country, they want their party to be united. They have a particular branch, a particular subsect of their party they are about. The rest they don't care for if they don't agree with your fucking views. You know what I mean? It's pretty strange. Like, there's MAGA people, there's Republican people, there's alt-right people, there's this. I mean, they all got their little. So it's not. They're not even caring. Forget about the left. They don't even agree with people within their own party. They're not about bridging a gap, bringing about peace, trying to get things sorted. It's just like it's all a grift for just the money. That's a really sad bit. They don't care about people. They don't care about the citizens. They don't care about the country for sure. They just care about making money. As long as everyone's arguing, as long as everyone's fighting, as long as the enemy isn't the fucking politicians, as long as the enemy isn't the banks, isn't the financiers, right? As long as it's not the fucking illegal wars, okay, cool. Come on, man.
Yes, but to be fair, or not to be fair, the fact is that it worked for what his goal is, which is then it became a thing online where then a certain portion of the right complain about how you're woke.
Racist.
And more racist.
They're racist. Yeah, they send pictures of monkeys to me and my wife. They're fucking horrible people, and they're cowards, and they never say it to your face.
Yeah.
They never do that. And no, they're like, look, dude, there's an ugliness that's out there right now where, you know, there's certain podcasts out there that if you're a racist, if you're an anti-Semite, if you're a psycho-nationalist and you want a softball interview, there's podcasts out there where you can, and they will laugh at your fucking bad jokes and just give you this pass. And it's like, you know, there's a really ugly thing that's going on out there. And, you know, it's the kind of things we've already seen this, and we've seen what it does to a nation. And it's not the way to go.
And real quick here, I just love that Bill spoke about how these guys hijacked the word woke and gave it an entirely new and negative meaning. Because what Bill Burr said was true. Like, people throw it around as an insult nowadays, but it wasn't ever supposed to take on that meaning. Bill saying that also shows you how Shapiro obviously just panders to his crowd and their buzzword of the day. As Shapiro...
Look at that posture, bro. Look at that fucking posture. Ew. Look at that fucking posture. Look at that. What the fuck's going on there, eh? Look at that fucking posture. Look at that posture. Jesus Christ. I want to say some things, but I don't want to get demonetized. But look at that posture. You know exactly what I'm thinking.
As Shapiro is just in it for money, which Bill wants zero part of. Later in this interview, Bill Burr details how silly it was of Ben to have him as his favorite comedian just because one of his jokes aligned with his worldview, just to then completely flip-flop on him as soon as he made fun of something against that view. It was very childlike, which Bill summarizes in a perfect way.
Exactly.
What I'm finding is that people keep trying to categorize what it is that you're doing.
If anything, not to interrupt his what he's going to say, it's going to be really important. If anything, I personally think, my personal opinion will be this. I would love to live in a world where comedians were apolitical. It's not going to happen though. But if that's not the case, I'd rather the comedians take the piss equally out of both sides so that everyone gets it. But they don't, because they know if they stick to one side, that's more money. And now the thing in vogue to be is a right winger, so they're in it. Like, if I was a person, honestly, if I'm alt-right, if I'm MAGA, I don't want these guys in my party anyway, comedians, because they're very fucking wishy-washy. They're very fly-by-night. They're only rocking with you now because it's trendy and cool to be alt-right and to be kind of anti-woke. It's like in vogue now to call out cancel culture. It's in vogue now to call out certain things going on in society and shit. It's in vogue now to be a fan of Trump openly. It's funny now to wear a MAGA hat. It's seen as like, you know, you wearing a fucking swastika anymore. But they weren't really with you shooting in the gym, as Drake would say. They weren't really with the right wingers and the fucking Jan Sixers when they were fucking, you know, doing what they were doing. They weren't away. They were hiding. But now it's safe and easy to be a Trump fan. Now it's a bit easier to be a right winger. Now it's a bit easier to be alt-right. Now all of a sudden they're fucking dancing by you. They're not really your friends. So if I was a right winger, if I was alt-right, I'd be like, fuck, get the fuck out of here. But I would rather they just, you know, argue from both sides, take the piss out of both sides, but they don't. Because it's way more profitable to stand on one side and talk down on the other side.
Like that idiot Ben Shapiro. No, he's woke now. He's like, I don't... That fucking guy, someone came to me and goes, hey man, you should... He was trying to bring me into his fold.
Yeah.
At one point, the guy liked me.
Yeah.
You know? And then when I didn't, then all of a sudden I'm a fucking asshole. I mean, I'm supposed to look at that guy like he's an adult?
And you see,
Exactly,
Bill Burr wasn't just
exactly.
assuming here that Shapiro was a fan of his at one point in time. Because as I mentioned at the start of this video, Shapiro actually defended Bill Burr for making jokes about Latinos at the 2021 Grammy Awards.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I will accept on behalf of her. If I butchered her name, I'm sorry. All right. Hey, how many feminists are like going nuts? So why is this cis white male doing all this Latino stuff?
Okay,
And again, you see how he misinterpreted the joke. That joke isn't an insult at like women. That joke isn't an insult at like Latinas and shit. That's just like an insult on like annoying people. What they call them? Hand wringers, pearl clutchers. That's what that joke is about. It's not a joke aimed at dissing Latinas or Hispanic people. Like, no, that's a joke aimed at annoying people who hand wring, annoying people that get upset, that get annoyed by the most dumbest things, especially white women online for the most part. That's who it's really aimed at. But he got really excited. His pussy started to fucking leak and drip because he thought he was dissing a particular racial group. Nah, bro, he's not like you. He's not like you.
people on the woke left were like, it's true. Why is that white male doing all this Latino stuff and then commenting on it? How dare he, laughing about
Big up Brian Laura. It's a joke with salsa on it. Exactly. It's a feminist joke with salsa on it. Exactly.
butchering people's names. How dare he? Right, this is where the Puritanism comes out. Because our cultural Puritans can never allow Bill Burr to make a joke about his own inability to pronounce Latino names. You can Latinx names, right? You can never make a joke about that. Is witch burning stuff.
I feel like as well, no one says Latinx in public, honestly. Like, maybe because there's not a lot of Latinos here in this country, But I don't think I've heard anyone refer to Latinos or Latinas as Latinx. No one says that, really. No one really gets upset if you say it or you don't say Latinx. I think that's a problem entirely created on social media. Honestly. I think it's a problem entirely created on social media. Nobody gets upset. Even if you meet a dem who's from Latin descent, I don't think they get annoyed if you say Latina or Latino. They don't really get upset. I swear to God, that's an issue that they've created themselves online somehow. Maybe there are some really far left people in places like Mexico, because I know Mexican people have kind of embraced that sort of stuff, especially some of the new kids coming up now, right? They've kind of embraced a lot of that kind of identification, classification and shit. But for the most part, I don't think I've ever been corrected in my life to say Latinx instead of saying Latina or Latino. Never.
Right? He must be burned. Bill Burr is a bad man because he is cis and he is white, where the H comes before the W. White. Right? He is a very, very bad man. But you know what is great for our culture? What is great for our culture is Harry Styles wore a boa.
But as soon as Bill Burr said stuff that Shapiro didn't really like, all of a sudden Bill's now apparently a lazy hack who tarnished his career after marrying his wife. And then, of course, after that call out, Ben Shapiro responded literally the morning after that podcast aired. I mean, you just know he was jumping with joy as soon as he learned about it. And what went down in the studio that day was quite possibly the most desperate, lazy, cringe-inducing attempt at a clapback that I've ever witnessed in my life. Like, you could tell that he really wanted to savagely roast Bill Burr, maybe thinking the two of them would have it back and forth like he always dreamed of.
You know what's really interesting too? That's really interesting, which I only found out recently. You know that who said it? A comedian said it. A very astute observation. A comedian said a lot of these political right-wingers and grifters are like failed theater kids. And I never could understand it because, like, hold on, I don't really get theater kids from any. These guys just seem annoying. They don't really have any creative, capabilities or scope. They're all a bit dull and whatever. But it's actually true. Ben Shapiro's one of them. Ben Shapiro's like what is he? Didn't he want to create films? I think he got denied. What did he get turned down by? Was it SNL? He went to write for or something. So a lot of these guys, that's the way they come from. So they try to be writers, they try to be comedians, try to be actors and stuff. And because that world is mostly populated by left-leaning people, when they got denied, instead of them thinking, oh, it's because I'm not good enough, because I'm not talented enough, they kind of immediately gave the reason they got denied because of like liberal woke ideology. Oh, I'm a white man. I'm a cisgendered man. That's why I wasn't allowed to kind of have this job. When really it's like, no, you suck, bro. You're not funny. You're not cute. You don't act well. You don't sing well. You know what I mean? That's what I was like, oh shit. I forgot who said it. Some comedian said a lot of these political right-wing grifters are a lot of like failed theater kids, which is a bad place to be. It's already bad being a theater kid, but if you're a failed theater kid, that's depressing as fuck. Like, you failed at being a theater kid. You were told earlier on that you don't have it. You don't have it. And then you have to kind of do your theater with your fucking political channel where you pretend to get annoyed and irate because, I don't know, a man was holding some woman's bag. It's like, huh?
But after watching this, you're going to see that...
Yeah, that's it, Andrew. Just it. Failed screenwriter, that's the one, yeah. Yeah, he thought he was going to be Aaron Sorkin or something, innit? I think there's an Aaron Sorkin link with Ben Shapiro. There's like an Aaron Sorkin thing. That's what he thought he was going to be like. Fuck off, man. What?
He was very clear.
Oh, and Tim Pool too. And Tim Pool, right? Hasn't Tim Pool got that really bad band? Tim Pool's got that horrible band. Like where he plays like horrible band. And he takes himself really seriously. They've got songs on Spotify and shit. Like, god damn.
Really reading a script off his teleprompter.
Yeah, Crowder with the outfits for sure.
For the first time. And B, the entire script was generated by AI. I'm going to touch on that more after this.
No way! No way! No way! Ben Shapiro clapped back to fucking Bill Burr using an AI script. Come on, bro. Oh, bring the fucking flood. Bring the plague, man. Bring the plague. You can't even grift properly. You're so lazy, you can't even grift and clap back properly. You have to get your clapbacks and grifts generated through AI. What a shame. What a fucking shame.
clip plays, but I'm 99% sure that he used AI to write this shitty little roast he made for Burr. There's just a lot of dead giveaways in it that you'd clue in on immediately if you're familiar with the way that ChatGPT writes, but more on that later.
Okay, so now Bill Burr would presumably call that Bill Burr insensitive and unresponsive to the needs and definitions of black people. Which, all this is amazing, guys, because Bill Burr is whiter than a painting of a polar bear in snow on a white canvas. So he's actually the most annoying form of a...
That does sound like... Sorry, that particular line does sound very ChatGPT-ish, isn't it? That particular line there sounds like a ChatGPT insult. Oh, Bill, fucking Ben Shapiro, come on, man. Come on, bro. You have to try harder, man. You have to try harder. Honestly, that line especially. Maybe I'm a bit biased because American Redact told us what he told us previously, but that line, that little diss sounded very ChatGPT-ish.
Woke person. A white lib, the kind he likes to criticize. The white person who apologizes for being white by pretending that he can speak on behalf of black people about the systemic privileges of being white. Oh yeah, while pulling down millions of dollars to be an angry thumb of a human. So, bald Rumpelstiltskin over here, who gets mad when you call him by his real name, is still pissed off. I didn't enjoy his comedy show last year, and he thinks that I and my friends and my wife, we all paid to attend his show just so that I could criticize him. No, here's the thing. On a random weekday night, if I'm going to a comedy show, I'm going because I want to laugh. We paid to attend your show because you used to be funny. And then you transed yourself and turned into a white, bald, allegedly male version of Sonny Hassan on The View, screeching at me about income inequality and racism. There is some irony to the fact that as you lost your nuts, you morphed into a shriveled nutsack of a human.
It sounds like a script. It sounds like a script. Come on, Ben Shapiro. You gotta try at least, man. You gotta try at least to clap back from your heart. Come on, Ben Shapiro, bro. Reading out a script clapback. It would have been, even if he would have wrote it himself, the fact that he's reading it from a screen is already bad. Even if he would have wrote it himself, the fact that he's reading it from a screen is terrible. The fact that he didn't even write it makes it worse. Like, oh my God.
And now you've decided that you're a victim, and that everyone you know is a victim, and that America is cruel and nasty and such, and you're deliberately misunderstood just because you won't put on a great show anymore, which makes me sad, because I enjoyed watching.
Wow, big up everybody, big up in the stream chat. Who said that? Big up somebody in the stream chat. I forgot to mention you, who said Ben Shapiro sounds like DSP, and I can't get it out of my head now. You're right. Just that little bit there, like, right? He does sound like DSP, innit? They got that same nasally, annoying voice. I just heard it there. Like, fuck, that sounds like DSP.
Just because you won't put on a great show anymore, which makes me sad.
Which makes me sad. Yeah, that sounds like DSP, doesn't it? Yeah. Jesus Christ.
I enjoyed watching Bill Burr. But now watching you is like watching Robin DiAngelo, but even whiter and even faker and less funny, and with a screechy boss and accent to boot. You turn into Billy, the pissed-drunk woke leprechaun. Good luck with that, my dude. Listen, I hope you turn it around. I really do.
My dude. Don't ever say that again, my dude. You fucking donut. You need to get drop kicked in the head.
Because the world needs better comedians. And I like a lot of comedians who disagree with me. Louis C.K., Dave Chappelle. But you know what we don't need? 57-year-old men trying to earn street cred with the fellow kids by turning into a human embodiment of those in this house lawn signs. That makes me sad. It does. And yeah, you're being a woke jackass.
You cannot tell me that that entire thing wasn't written with ChatGPT.
Agreed.
And even if it wasn't, it's seriously some embarrassing stuff to be putting out to hundreds of thousands of people. I mean, come on, little Benjamin. This was truly the biggest moment of your career. Like, Bill Burr never calls out anyone by name anymore. He didn't even mention Joe Rogan's name in that interview. Like, the last time this happened was when he called out Elon Musk, and that was huge. So just a little more effort would have at least been respectable. But yeah, guys. Sadly enough, this call out by Burr was the highlight of Ben.
Hold on. Yeah, exactly. Big up American Redact. Amazing work. Big up American Redact. Amazing work. Big up American Redact. Amazing work. He's fucking killing it lately. I have to be honest. Not to rate people. Not to rate people and stuff. But I think American Redact is clear of podcast cringe until it's a try.